Today at the Rate Your Sound channel, we're here with Jay from Audio Consultants in Chicago, and we're here to talk about Bluetooth wireless audio speakers. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great, Paul.
I guess my first question would be, do wireless audio speakers sound as good as passive speakers?
Well, they can. We have newer technologies now that are allowing very, very high quality sound in wireless formats, and we're dealing with the way people are listening to music today. They're streaming music from the internet. They're taking their CD collections and putting them on computer storage, and it's all about getting the music to play easily through your systems and have it sound really good. And you can do that today in all price points. But you do need to listen to the different models that are out there and compare them and find the ones that you really like to listen to. It's a very personal choice.
How many years have you been involved with customers wanting wireless sound?
Wireless sound is always been a desired feature. It's just it hasn't been implemented very well in the early years. It was very spotty in reception. They were using 900 megahertz technologies that people used to have these phones that were done in that way. With the advent of the internet and Wi-Fi, things have gotten much stronger, much more consistent in performance, and that's really made a big difference in what people are hearing today.
We're here to talk about wireless Bluetooth systems, and one of the questions that comes to mind is people who have turntables and CDs using a wireless system. Is there any deterioration in sound, particularly that vinyl quality that so many people crave?
Well, the vinyl experience is a whole different experience for a lot of people. It's a very ritualistic experience. People are listening to entire albums, or at least sides of albums, when they play records. So I think it's more about that whole feel than actual sound performance that people are looking at. They want to look at album covers and liner notes and have that whole experience.
So if I buy a wireless system, my existing turntable, I want to keep it, my CD player and all my albums and CDs.
There are ways to interface your turntable into a wireless system. There are devices that will convert the analog signal to a digital signal and have it play through your system. Of course, people are converting their CD collections to storage. They're taking their entire CD collection and putting them on network storage drives, which these new wireless devices will easily find and let you create playlists.
So could I take my turntable, integrate it to my wireless system, and listen to a record anywhere in the house?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's neat. And
people are converting their vinyl music to files so they can take it with them on their phone or in their car or at the gym. That's a dedicated process, and it's done in real time. You're listening to each track, and it's not just ripping the disc all at once. It's a dedicated process.
So there are some secrets to doing it.
There are some software systems out there that make it a little easier for you to do this, but it's still a dedicated process.
Okay. One of the things that we're asked all the time, and you can give an expert answer on, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, which sounds better?
Well, there are advancements in both technologies that can be discernible when you listen to it. Most people are streaming audio today. They're getting their Pandora, Spotify accounts, and they are listening to music on demand, and that's all done in Wi-Fi. People who have music stored on their phone or their devices, they're typically using a Bluetooth configuration to get that music from their phone to play through a speaker or through somebody's system. And there are different types of Bluetooth technologies that sound different. The aptX Bluetooth technology is the one that has the most musicality to it, and you're starting to see more and more manufacturers subscribe to that.
Is it a licensing arrangement?
It's a licensing arrangement, and you'll find it in many different price ranges. It doesn't, I don't think, add that much to the overall cost of doing business, but it definitely does sound better.
Do you think the music lover would be satisfied for general listening with either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
It really depends on the files that you're listening to, or if you're subscribing to a service. There are services that you can subscribe to other than Spotify that have better sound. And a lot of people are investigating that, particularly if they are particular about the way things sound. The average person doesn't necessarily want to spend more to get a streaming signal to their house, but the ones who care about the way it sounds, I don't think will mind spending $19.99 a month
For Tidal?
For Tidal, and Deezer, which is the one that works very well with Sonos. Those are CD quality services, so they are not compressing the sound like you typically will get with Pandora or Spotify or the
So
other
there is a
streaming
little
services.
bit of an advantage there for the music lover.
Oh, absolutely. The people who are particular about the way things sound will hear a difference.
We have a question about tube amps. Back in the day, tube amps and vinyl, the sonic signatures, the warmth, was something that people talked about, and they pay extra money to go there. I noticed that with the Bluetooth wireless systems, most of them are powered by digital amps. Are they going to sound as good?
Well, again, you're listening to two different types of systems, and they definitely sound different. Again, the people who are particular about the way things sound will typically want a wired system with individual components, separate components that will deliver performance that has more purity to it. All the wireless things today are definitely using digital amplifiers, which have gotten steadily better over time. They were originally just found in subwoofers where articulation was not very important, but with the advent of the newest digital amplifiers, you're finding them in amplifiers that are in the $5,000 plus range.
So they could technically go head to head.
They certainly measure very well. If you look at the specs, they're very green, they don't take a lot of energy, they don't heat up the room like tubes do. So you're looking at a lot of advantages to digital amplification. Again, it's a very personal choice. You have to listen to it.
Would you be surprised if at some point somebody came out with a wireless tube system?
Not at all. I'm sure there's somebody working on it right now if it's not already here.
I'm here with Jay from Audio Consultants. We're in one of the high-end rooms. So our next question is really about 5.1 sound, TV. If I'm redoing my system, might I just want to do it with a pair of wireless speakers and a subwoofer?
Well, certainly you have to do something today with TVs. The TVs of today have horrible sound. People get a new TV at home and they're comparing it to the sound they used to get on their old television, which frankly sounded way better. The speakers were much larger. They were firing at you from the front of the cabinet. TVs of today have speakers that fire out the back of the cabinet. They're the size of a quarter. People get a new TV and they think there's something wrong with the sound. So you either have to interface it into some type of speaker system. A lot of people are doing the soundbar arrangements, which can be very, very good. You have to be careful of the inexpensive ones that are out there that, frankly, don't sound that great. The ones from Sonos, Blue Sound, interface very well with the TV control, so they're easy to operate. And you can actually make them into a 5.1 surround by adding their subwoofer and a pair of their wireless surround channels for the movie buff who really wants to get involved with movie effects. If they really like the idea of having a movie in their home, have it sound as close to a home theater experience, they're going to still want to do some type of 5.1 scenario.
But it seems to me that a lot of people are downsizing in the sense of less speakers in a given system, yet those speakers are better. I would imagine certain products, expensive powered wireless speakers that can connect to that TV, along with a subwoofer, would give you all the impact, and maybe the only thing it would lack would be a little bit of the surround effect.
Right, some people are just starting with a Sonos Play Bar or Blue Sound Play Bar, which will give you the front 3 channels of sound, which is, again, more than what's going to come out of the television. A lot of people then add the powered subwoofer, which gives them the depth of sound that they're experiencing. And some people will take it and add the rear channel speakers to give you that, true surround effect that's on a lot of the movies that you watch.
So you're not getting a true surround effect with a sound bar?
Not just a sound bar alone, but it certainly sounds better than what comes out of the TV.
I'm here with Jay from Audio Consultants, and we're asking him questions about Bluetooth wireless speaker systems. One of the things we were wondering about, Jay, was most of these systems are presented with smaller speakers. The left and right speaker may be 11, 12, 13 inches tall. And I kind of come from the school of big is bad. So can I get a big sound out of these wireless systems?
There are, again, many choices today that you should take a listen to, but it just depends on your level of interest and desire. If you are a listener who will focus listen, you're going to be a bit underwhelmed with the sound that you get from the tiniest wireless speakers that are out there. But there are models available today that have very good amplification built in and are technically high quality audiophile speakers.
Great, that's great to hear.
That you can get in a wireless fashion. So they are doing it at all levels.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a $200 speaker is not going to sound as good as a $5,000 pair of wireless speakers. There's just no way.
Right. But the delivery of and kind of the oomph that some of these smaller speakers have today seems to be much better than what we could buy at a hi-fi store years ago.
Well, again, you're listening to, in a lot of cases, background music where you're not listening to it very loud, you're not focused listening. I think you'll find the choices that are under $500 to be very fulfilling in that area. But the person who's particular about the way things sound, they're going to maybe be a little less impressed by the performance.
Sure. Do the smaller speakers work better sometimes when it's an average size living room and you're trying to put some big towers in? Can you have some, does it help you there?
Well, people will then start talking about adding the powered subwoofers that will give them the bigger sound, particularly in the bass regions that you typically equate to larger speakers. And when you do pairs of wireless speakers instead of just putting one in a room, you're certainly getting more focused listening capabilities, particularly when you add wireless powered subwoofer to the mix.
I'm here with Jay, who's an industry expert on all kinds of audio systems, but has a real deep knowledge on wireless systems. One of our questions, I forgot the question. Do I start over?
No, just keep going.
Do I really need, Jay, do I really need a receiver or integrated? I got this all screwed up.
Just read it. Read the question.
We're past 4.
Yeah. With these wireless systems, do I really not need a receiver or integrated amp, and how does that work?
Yeah, typically the new wireless systems today are self-contained. The amplifiers are built within the speakers, and all you need is a very robust Wi-Fi network and a control device, a phone, a tablet to hold the control application, and a power cord. And that's the only wire that you have to deal with today. Older systems required the separate components that you needed to use when you had physical wired speakers to the systems. There are ways to add streaming devices, wireless streaming devices to existing systems, and a lot of people are doing that. But if you just want a system that doesn't have a conventional component arrangement, you can choose the wireless speaker of your choice, and off you go.
So that receiver that's sitting in my house is now packed inside the speaker of my wireless
Essentially,
system.
the amplifier section and control section of it is. And as soon as you subscribe to one of the music services or take your CD collection and put them on storage, that the wireless speaker will then find and play on demand. It takes the place of the CD player, it takes the place of the receiver.
So you need two speakers, your remote control, whatever that may be, or...
And the service and the Wi-Fi, and off you go.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Jay. We're talking about wireless audio systems, and one of the questions was, you know, I'm dedicated, I'm committed to my vinyl collection. It's what I like most, and the whole, as you were saying earlier, tactile feel of playing it. Am I going to be able to do that easily?
Sure,
with a wireless system?
absolutely. There are turntables that are designed today to interface into wireless systems. There are adapters that you can add to existing turntables that will let you send the signal wirelessly to your system for it to reproduce the sound that you like. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have music streaming, you can have the tactile feel of the analog playback experience.
So if I get the right wireless system, then devices that I'm still using, my turntable, my CD player, that can all still be part of the system.
They can be interfaced into the system. Again, CD players would be kind of redundant to have a disc tied to a wireless system because, again, all that music is available through streaming. All that music is available if you convert the CDs to storage. So you don't
But you think the idea of hooking your turntable up is cool?
Kind of, yeah, sure.
We wanted to talk to him about a particular pair of speakers, KEF's X300s. And we were talking to a friend who said, they sounded great in the store. I got them home, and I just don't feel the same impact. It's just not right. What am I doing wrong?
Well, typically, it's placement that will change the sound quality. If you have the speakers just on the floor, not on proper stands or shelves, you know, at ear level when you're in a seated position would be an ideal arrangement. There are a variety of
The
speakers.
tweeters at ear level, yeah.
And there are speaker stands available that will get the speaker up to that height. Spreading the speakers as far apart, equal to as far as you sit back, is kind of a good rule of thumb to start with as far as the placement. If you are critically listening, you'll experiment with those different positions to find the best sound.
So if our audience took geometry, it's a equilateral triangle?
That's where I would start with positioning speakers, depending on the room it's in. Again, if you're looking for just background sound, you're not going to be so concerned about that. But if you want to sit and do some focused listening, you will hear the differences that proper positioning will bring to the game.
It was about the same size room. What could be the differences in the room that it could sound so different?
Well, there are different furniture and carpeting arrangements that are in the room. If you have a very modern place with a lot of glass and leather furniture and no rugs, the sound is going to be different than a room that has carpeting and draperies and things like that to cut down the reflections and you want a little bit of absorption with sound today. You don't want it to just be bouncing off all the walls.
What if I put both speakers in corners?
Well, that typically is not the best positioning for speakers. Putting speakers closer to walls or corners will accentuate the bass response of the speaker. Some people like that effect. Again, it's a very personal choice that you make when you set things up. You should try different.
So the owner of one of these new systems shouldn't be afraid to move it up on a shelf or down or to the left or the right.
Absolutely. And you'll hear differences with every move. You just have to find the one that suits your aesthetics, and sometimes the speaker doesn't always look the best where it sounds the best. But,
well, you showed us a system downstairs for a desktop setup, and you had slightly angled them, and it was very precise what you were doing. What did that accomplish?
it definitely focused the stereo imaging much better, where you close your eyes and you feel that the singer is right there in the room with you, between the speakers, singing directly to you.
And we wanted to ask Jay a question about the streaming services. Should I use an internet streaming service, or should I listen to my own collection?
Well, things are really changing in that area. It used to be a time when people would send their CDs off to a service to get them transferred to network storage, and they did that for a cost of several dollars per CD. Now that you can stream CD quality sound from several services that are priced at under $20 a month, it's kind of taking that out of the equation. You don't necessarily need to take your entire CD collection and put it on storage. There are some artists that are not streaming, and those are the ones you will certainly need to put on storage for your device to find and play back for you. But I would subscribe to one of the services that offers uncompressed CD quality sound. You'll have 30 million tracks of music on demand, and it sounds very good. And you should be able to find virtually any artist you want. And the ones that you can't find, those are the ones you'll need to put on storage for your system to find.
Well, I've always liked to read the album covers, see who the session players were on a given album, maybe learn something, the liner notes. How are the streaming services at giving us that information?
Well, that's something that is being addressed by some of the services. There's a service called Rune, which is a subscription software service that will take all that fun stuff that you used to get on LP covers, liner notes, and have it show up on your phone or your tablet computer, and we'll get into artist biographies and go into every session player that's on the particular album you're listening to.
And I understand these are even clickable links, so I could look at a Joni Mitchell album, see who the session players were, and literally click through other things they worked on.
It will take you on a musical journey, and you'll start listening to different players on different records and discover what influences they brought to the game, and it's quite interesting.
So in some ways, it might actually be better, more complete information than I even got in a printed form on a CD or an album.
In CDs, I was never very impressed with the liner notes in CDs. The format's so small. I'm a vinyl guy, so I like the tactile feel of playing records and the liner notes that are on there. But take a look at Rune, which is a very interesting service.
Thanks, Jay.
Add to the game.
We spent some time talking about large speakers, small speakers, and one of the ways that problem is solved is with a subwoofer. How important would it be to have a subwoofer in a wireless system?
Well, certainly people who, again, are going to be doing more focused listening with a pair of wireless speakers will discover the addition of a powered subwoofer, wireless powered subwoofer, will give them the depth of sound that they're normally accustomed to getting with larger wired speakers. So it would be very important to add to a system that a person who is a more critical listener, a more serious listener, would hear the difference.
I think you are pretty keen on a subwoofer if that person watches a lot of movies.
It's certainly part of a home theater wireless system. It becomes almost a given if they're into the sound that they get at a movie theater. If they want to recreate more of that in their home, it definitely will bring that to the game.
But also with the modern music, particularly the electronic music, they don't want to miss those bottom octaves. They're not going to buy a system that can't deliver down there.
Yes, and that's definitely a taste thing, and some people are really looking for that. And
So for anybody buying a wireless audio system, if you listen to Joni Mitchell, folk music, soft jazz, and there's very little bass, don't get too caught up in the subwoofer.
or take a listen to one and see what it brings to the game. Make your own decision.
I like that too. We're always battling around the question at Rate Your Sound about at what point is it an audiophile product and can somebody have some cred that they have a proper system in their home? And we were thinking about specifically the Sonos Play 5.
Yeah, a pair of Sonos Play 5s will give you a very fulfilling stereo image and sound like a proper system.
For $1,000.
For $1,000, and you'll find that will be very fulfilling, and certainly you can add more rooms with Sonos. You'll have a speaker in your bathroom, a speaker in your bedroom, and all controlled by their wonderful app. Most people who buy Sonos come back and add more within 30 days. They just put speakers everywhere.
Wow, that's interesting. So if I brought a pair of Play 5s home, set them up left and right, effectively all I need to do is add music and their control amp, and off I go.
Yeah, the control app is free. You download that to your phone and subscribe to one of the uncompressed services, and off you go. Maybe add the subwoofer to the mix if you really want to up your game.
Okay, so that's the price point then.
Yeah,
About $1,000.
and then the subwoofer 700. So
Okay.
you're under $2,000.
It's a sunny day in Chicago. We're with Jay at Audio Consultants, one of the premier hi-fi shops in the country, and lucky to be here in Chicago spending a few minutes with Jay. One of the things we were wondering about was the classic audio-video multi-channel receiver that has been in most people's homes. Is that device dead?
Well, certainly we still sell them. We still sell wired systems. More and more people want the Wi-Fi experience, and you're finding less and less people interested in doing 5, 7, 10 channel speakers in their room with wires. We still have customers who have dedicated rooms for watching movies, and they're still doing wired systems with big audio video receivers. So there's a market there for both types, but the average person is looking for Wi-Fi systems.
You know, I even noticed a couple of companies that primarily make amplifiers and receivers. You know, suddenly up pops a powered wireless Bluetooth speaker
In their lineup.
in their lineup. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
yeah.
We're seeing that definitely is the direction it's going, and a lot of people are downsizing. They're getting into smaller spaces. They don't want to deal with all the wires and all the clutter and all the components that they grew up with.
And the last thing I'll say is perfect for a second room. You know,
Absolutely.
they already have their big system, but they just want to continue to party elsewhere in the house.
Yeah, they can certainly expand to even outdoor areas with sound today with the new Wi-Fi systems.
One of the things that we've been wondering about as we've tested these systems is regarding Sonos. Why are they so popular?
Well, Sonos is definitely one of the industry leaders in wireless sound, multi-room wireless sound. They've been doing it since 2005, I think. And with the advent of iPhones and Android phones, which essentially is your remote control with Sonos, it's really taken Sonos to the stratosphere in market share and people awareness of their system. And their app that you download for free to your device is very intuitive, easy to control, and you can start with one speaker and you can pair it up and have stereo pairs in rooms, and you can have Sonos speakers in every room of your house. You can do up to 28 zones of sound with Sonos.
And is that easy for the customer to set up those zones?
Absolutely. You need a very good Wi-Fi signal coming in, which
Well, if you're
now-
buying an audiophile system, you may as well have an audiophile Wi-Fi, whatever,
Yes,
router.
and good service, and it's important to have that with video streaming and audio streaming alike. But again, you can start with one speaker with a Sonos system. You'll soon be adding more to it because people will put speakers in laundry rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms. Everybody can be listening to their individual choices in those rooms, or you can hit party mode and everybody's listening to the same thing, and all controlled by your app on your phone or your tablet.
Well, we love party mode at Rate Your Sound.
Very good.
We're spending time with Jay at Audio Consultants in Chicago, and we're exploring more about Sonos systems. And one of the questions we had, we just got done reviewing it, is how does that Play 5 compare to the other speakers in the Sonos line?
Yeah, that's their newest speaker, and it has 5 individual speaker elements inside each speaker. It's got its own amplifier, and people will do singles or stereo pairs of them, and certainly has a full, rich sound at any volume level. And they have a new device called True Sound, which is a sound equalization system that you can easily access when you set up the system. Basically uses the microphone in your phone or your tablet to measure the sound pulses that the speaker sends out, and it adapts the speaker to the room that you place it in. And it's very easily done, and it makes a difference in how the sound fits your room.
When you set them up as a stereo pair and use the True Sound technology, what do you think before and after?
There are definite differences. Again, depending on the room that you're putting it in, it can compensate for sparseness of furnishings and carpeting. And
So it hears those reflections.
It hears those reflections, and it adapts the sound to better fit that particular application.
We wanted to talk just a little bit more about Sonos. One question, I figure you can give us a better answer than most. What do your customers think of Sonos?
The average customer that comes in looking for a wireless system probably has heard of Sonos. Typically, you'll find somebody who's been to a party or a friend's, and they've been shown the system. They're shown how easy it is to operate, and that's very attractive to the average customer that's coming in today. So when you can show them the ease of operation on the control app and how easy it is to set up, and you can get very good sound, it's a winner for the average person that's coming in looking to do away with the wires on their systems.
And do you really feel that it's less complexity for the customer once they get home and get it set up?
Absolutely. It's a pretty plug-and-play system. It's very easy to add more Sonos zones to your system, and you will do that. If you have Sonos, you will add more.
Well, it was you pointed out a few minutes ago that most Sonos customers come back within 30 days and add more to this.
Yeah, they'll put speakers where they never thought they could have sound before, and it's easily done. So they're listening to more music than ever before because it's so accessible.
So we wanted to talk a little bit more about Sonos because it's such a popular system. We want to give people a real clear understanding of what it's like to use on a day-to-day basis. We're always asked, do I have to subscribe to some kind of a music service to use my Sonos?
Yes, you'll find that there are free services that all you have to do is sign up for, and you can have music. Pandora Radio is a very popular one. There are ads that are played through your selection. It's not music on demand, so to speak. You can't go in and pick out a specific Beatles album or song, but you type in Beatles and it starts playing Beatles, and then starts playing related music based on that choice. If you want music on demand, specific tracks off specific albums, I would recommend one of the uncompressed music services, the Tidal, Spotify,
Is now going lossless, they're saying.
They're saying, and there's one that works very well with Sonos called Deezer, and they have a deal where it's $15 a month for the first year, and that's CD quality streaming, music on demand, 30 million tracks.
I think that's interesting you brought up Deezer, because I wasn't familiar with it, but I noticed it as baked into almost every one of the Bluetooth wireless speakers we're reviewing.
Right, there are different levels of Deezer. Deezer Elite is the one that is fairly exclusive to Sonos. It's the CD quality service that will deliver full range sound with no compression and on 30 million tracks. It's, again, music on demand. Your entire collection is probably being streamed, and if not, those are the ones you have to put on storage.
And one of the things that I would mention is you have Apple Music, you have Spotify, you have Tidal. Google Play is excellent for classical and opera. So I don't think the person buying a wireless system is going to be limited in terms of choice.
Oh, absolutely not. And
TuneIn Radio.
TuneIn Radio, internet radio from all over the planet. You'll find all of these services typically have free trials for you to give them a listen to, find the one that you really like, and then subscribe to that one and pay for it.
And we're digging a little deeper into the KEF LS50 wireless. They built a great reputation with the LS50. You're an audio expert. Our question's a simple one. Are a pair of LS50 wireless going to sound as good as a pair of the passive LS50s?
I believe they can sound even better depending on what you were driving the passive speakers with. The built-in amplifier and built-in digital converter that's in the LS50 wireless is exceptional and will deliver very, very high-end sound for not a lot of money. I think they're under $2,000.
And one of the things that I was thinking about is, obviously, if you're matching it up, the passive speakers with an integrated amp, high quality, sure. But it seems to me that with the wireless, you have better control of the crossovers. You could sort of tune the amps to the speakers. There might be some advantages that might eke out a little bit better sound.
Absolutely. Again, the amplifiers are designed specifically for that speaker, and they do a great job with it.
We've been digging into wireless speakers today. We spent a lot of time talking about Sonos, and I really want to thank you for covering that so well. I know that you are a fan of Blue Sound, and we have an upcoming review, but we haven't touched the product. So could you give us a little taste of why I might consider Blue Sound over Sonos?
Yeah, Blue Sound definitely is an alternative to Sonos, geared maybe to the more particular listener, because Blue Sound will do beyond CD quality sound. Sonos stops at CD quality performance, but we have customers who are looking to go beyond what CDs can sound like. And there are services today that are delivering even beyond CD quality streaming, and Blue Sound will interact with those services. They have a selection of small speakers that are wireless. They have a sound bar that's wireless, a wireless sub. We also add a lot of their node models, which are a streaming box that you add to a conventional wired system to bring streaming into its realm. And Blue Sound has a control app that's very intuitive and easy to operate. You subscribe to one of the uncompressed streaming services like Tidal, and you can get very compelling sound out of their speakers or tied into a wired stereo system.
Are they an American company?
No, they're based, they're partnered up with NAD Electronics, which is a well-known brand. They're designed in Britain, of course built in China, but they are a very robust Wi-Fi music system that is expandable and can go beyond CD quality.
Have you enjoyed wireless entering the whole fray here? We grew up with hi-fi systems and lots of components, and
I still listen to vinyl records, it's a whole different ritual, we talked about that. But the magic of being able to sit in your chair with your iPad and have 30 million tracks at your fingertips and have it sound very good is quite compelling. And it's instantaneous music, you don't have to search for it, create your playlists, and off you go.
You know, last night we jumped on Spotify on a TV. We put on Dark Side of the Moon. And I said, you know, I just have to plug in my Roon system, pull up a high quality version of this,
Right.
and do we hear anything different? And I gotta tell you, we were amazed last night. It was just black
Spot
and
on.
white, yeah.
Yeah.
Through Roon and through Tidal,
Yes.
USB-C.
Yeah, it's, the differences are there for the people who want to hear them. And we cater to that customer, the customer who will take the time to listen.
Well, I'll be asking you for your opinion on Blue Sound as we begin our review on it.
I think you'll be surprised.
There's such a great tradition at Audio Consultants, and I wanted to convey that to our listeners, why we would come down here and spend some time with you. I know it all because we've spent so much time together,
Sure.
but I'd love you to tell us about Audio Consultants.
Audio Consultants, this is our 50th year of doing high-end audio in this region. We have 4 stores. It started in 1967 in Evanston, Illinois. The owner of the company still comes to work every day and deals with customers.
Tell us about Simon.
Simon is a very interesting guy. He's from France, a music lover. He and his wife go to over 60 concerts a year. I don't know how he does that, but that's
How old is he
1
now?
week. He's 70 plus. But he still has a passion for this and loves his customers. He goes to the symphony and looks around and sees all of his customers, and that makes him feel really good. But we've been doing this a long time. We have dedicated listeners who come to us for advice, and we can put them on the right path and cater to their desires.
Well, we'll make sure to put up all the information about Audio Consultants, and we really do hope that some Rate Your Sound listeners come in here
Yeah.
and ask for some professional advice,
Yeah.
because it makes all the difference in the
You're
world.
welcome always to come in and take a listen and discuss what their needs are, and you can help them out.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.